Welcome to EasyEuge, the channel to help you to learn maths super easy, super fast. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to divide fractions. So if you're ready, let's get started. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click like on this video. And make sure that you watch all the way through to the end for question of the day. How to divide fractions. Let's start with question 1, which is a half divided by 2. So before we get into this, let's have a look at a circle, and we've cut it in half. There's a line right down the middle. So we have a half here and a half here. So what if I had a half and I divided that again by 2? So there's my half a cake. If I divided this by 2, I'm going to divide it into 2 parts. So there's 1 quarter and there's another quarter. So we can see that a half divided by 2, or divided into 2 parts, would give you 1 quarter. Okay, now that we know the answer, let's get into the maths of how to do this. Let's write down a half again, and we're going to divide by 2. So when we're dividing by 2, we need to turn 2 from a whole number into a fraction. So 2 is actually 2 over 1. And the trick with dividing fractions is this. Let's take the half, and instead of dividing, let's multiply, and we'll take that fraction and turn it upside down. We will use the reciprocal of the fraction. So instead of 2 over 1, we'll make it 1 over 2. So we're not going to divide by 2 over 1, we're going to multiply by 1 over 2, and that's okay. And let me show you why. When you have a fraction multiplied by a fraction, you just simply multiply the top numbers. 1 by 1 is 1. And then you multiply the bottom numbers. 2 by 2 is 4. And look, the answer that we worked out by using a circle and diagram was a quarter. And the answer we got from doing it the mathematical way was also a quarter. So this is okay. So let's use the reciprocal of the fraction and then multiply. So let's put that into use. Let's take this next example of a half divided by 3. Remember, let's turn the 3 into a fraction by making it a 3 over 1. And let's rewrite the question, a half. Instead of dividing, let's multiply, and let's use the reciprocal of this. Let's make this 1 over 3. And now we can just go straight into multiplying. 1 by 1 is 1. 2 by 3 is 6. So the answer is 1 over 6. Now that we know how to divide fractions, let's get straight into the next 2 questions. 1 over 3 divided by 2 over 5. Let's write that super fast. 1 over 3. Let's turn this all upside down. Let's use the reciprocal. Let's multiply by 5 over 2. And what does that equal? Let's get straight into multiplying. 1 by 5 is 5. And 3 by 2 is 6. That is it. Nice and simple. Let's do that one more time. 4 over 5 divided by 3 over 2. Let's take 4 over 5, and remember what we're going to do? We're going to use the reciprocal. Let's multiply by, what is it? 2 over 3. Excellent. Let's write that in, and let's get straight into multiplying. 4 by 2 is 8, and 5 by 3 is 15. We are finished. Question 5 is 1 over 5 divided by 1 over 3. So sometimes you'll see a question that looks like this. And this is very simply 1 over 5 divided by 1 over 3. So that's all you do, and you know the trick. Turn this into a multiply and use the reciprocal of the fraction. Let's do that. So it's 1 over 5. Instead of dividing, we'll multiply. And instead of 1 over 3, let's make it 3 over 1. And now let's go straight ahead and multiply to get the answer. 1 by 3 is 3, and 5 by 1 is 5. So there you go. 1/5 divided by 1/3 is 3/5. Moving on now to question 6, we have 2/3 divided by 4/3. And you know what to do. Let's write that again, 2/3, but we'll use a multiply instead of a divide. Let's use the reciprocal of the fraction, and that's 3 over 4. Let's go straight ahead and multiply. 2 by 3 is 6. 3 by 4 is 12. And the answer is 6 over 12. And always look for the opportunity to simplify. What can we do to the top number that we can also do to the bottom number? So I think we can divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the answer is a half. The last two examples for you are 4 over 5 divided by 16 over 11. Now we know that we're just simply going to use the reciprocal of this and multiply. So let's rewrite that down. 4 over 5 multiplied by 11 over 16. Before I even dive into this, the numbers are going to start to look very big. 4 times 11 is 44, and 5 16s are 80. So that is going to look something like this, 44 over 80. And then we're going to have to simplify this down. Okay, so let me show you another method of simplifying before we get into this. Let me write that down, 4 over 5 multiplied by 11 over 16. This is what we had. Let's look for similarities between these two diagonal numbers. There's no similarities there. 5 and 11, they're not multiples of each other. But the 4 and the 16, 4 can divide into 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide that 4 by 4 and make it a 1. And divide this 16 by 4 and make it a 4. Let's see what that looks like. That's going to be 1 over 5 multiplied by 11 over 4. And that's nice and simple, as 1 times 11 is 11 and 5 4s are 20. Now how do we check that these two answers are the same? Let's start simplifying this one down. I'd like to divide this top number by 2. 44 divided by 2 is 22. 80 divided by 2 is 40. That's still not the same. Let's divide by 2 again. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 40, should I say, divided by 2 is 20. I nearly gave the answer away there. Now both answers are the same, and you choose which one you want to use. You can go straight ahead and just multiply, and you'll get a big fraction, but then you have to simplify it down. Or you can do some cross cancellations to get a much more simple looking multiplication to get your answer. So let's do that one more time with something that looks horrendously big. And this time we'll go for the simplify option. And that is 22 over 25 divided by 11 over 35. And we know that that is the same as 22 over 25. And let's use what we've learned in the video, multiplied by 35 over 11. Now, I'm not even going to start multiplying 22 by 35 and 25 by 11. We would need a calculator. So let's look at some similarities. Let's look at 25 and 35. Is there anything we can do to these two numbers to make them simpler? I think we could divide the number 5 into these two numbers. Let's do that. So if I divided 25 by 5, that would turn into a 5. And if I divided 35 by 5, that would turn into a 7. Okay. Let's look at 22 and 11. Can we see a similarity? I think 11 times 2 is 22. So let's divide 22 by 11 and I get 2. And let's divide 11 by 11 and I get 1. Now let's write that again because it's starting to look a bit messy. We had a 2 up here, we had a 5 on the bottom, and then we had a 7 on the top, and then we had a 1 on the bottom. And we simply go straight ahead and multiply. This is a lot more friendly than trying to multiply by these huge numbers. 2 times 7 is 14. 5 ones are 5. And the answer is 14 over 5. So hopefully when you're faced with a question like this, always look for the opportunity to simplify it before you go ahead. And that's dividing fractions. Question of the day is 2 over 3 multiplied by 2 over 5 divided by 1 over 3. So what do you do when you see a divide of a fraction? Let's multiply and we'll use the reciprocal of the fraction. And then you have 3 fractions that you're multiplying. And remember, when you're multiplying fractions, multiply all the top numbers, then multiply all the bottom numbers, and then look to see if you need or can simplify. So good luck with this question. Leave your answer in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next one.